They say you can only have one father. But I had two. One taught me how to chase wealth. The other taught me how to live without it. One was celebrated, the other forgotten. One was admired, the other overlooked. And yet, the man the world ignored, ended up shaking it to its very core. My name is Ethan Cole. And what I'm about to share isn't just a story, it's a wake-up call. Because I spent most of my life believing I knew what success looked like. I worshipped the wrong role model. And I was blind to the man who had been quietly building an empire of kindness in the shadows. I was 13 the first time I wished someone else was my father. My real dad, Thomas Cole, was a school librarian. He wore the same 3 shirts every week. His shoes were so worn you could see the outline of his toes. He brewed tea in a cracked mug, and the wallpaper in our kitchen peeled like dry paint. He smiled a lot. He hugged too much. And in a world that praised men for what they had, he seemed to have nothing. Then there was Daniel's dad, Mr. Grayson. A man with presence. Confidence. Power. His voice filled every room he entered. He owned 3 companies, 4 houses, and 10 cars. I once saw him buy a $6,000 pen just because it matched his tie. When he spoke, people listened. When he walked into Daniel's school, the principal stood straighter. I wanted that. I wanted him. One summer afternoon, I was at Daniel's house, mansion, really, sitting under a chandelier worth more than our home. I just solved a math problem he couldn't. Mr. Grayson walked in, glanced at my work, and said, "Smart boy. You don't belong where you came from. If you want out, follow me. I'll show you the world." He handed me a business card like it was a golden ticket. That moment, something cracked inside me. I started to look at my real dad through a different lens, a dimmer one. When I got home that night, Dad had made vegetable soup. I pushed the bowl away. "Not hungry," I said coldly. He sat across from me, tired but gentle. "Tough day?" "No," I muttered. "Just thinking." He nodded and smiled like he always did. But I remember feeling embarrassed by him, for the first time. The years that followed, I built a wall. Every compliment from Mr. Grayson added a brick. Every quiet act of kindness from my dad chipped one away, but never fast enough. I stopped asking Dad for advice. I spent more time at Daniel's. I stopped saying, "I love you," when I left the house. By 18, I was on scholarship at a top-tier university, thanks to grades I barely acknowledged Dad had helped me earn. He worked overtime just to help me buy my textbooks. I didn't even say thank you. Summers, I interned at Grayson's firm. He praised my hustle, gave me expensive cologne, taught me how to negotiate and dominate. I began to wear tailored suits, speak like him, walk like him. I even started mimicking his laugh. When Dad called, I often let it go to voicemail. By 28, I was a rising star in finance. 6-figure salary. High-rise condo. Designer kitchen I never cooked in. I was living the life my poor dad never could. But no matter how loud the city buzzed or how full my calendar was, there was a silence inside me I couldn't escape. Then one night, everything unraveled. A call from an unknown number. "Is this Ethan Cole?" "Yes. This is Mercy Hospital. Your father, he collapsed at work. A stroke. It's serious." I remember standing in the middle of a luxurious office, staring at the phone, my reflection bouncing off glass walls. My throat tightened. I hadn't seen him in nearly a year. I dropped everything and flew home. He was unrecognizable. Pale. Frail. Machines hissed and beeped around him. A tube was down his throat. His hands, once warm and worn from years of turning book pages, were limp, lifeless. Guilt hit me like a freight train. I sat there for hours, just watching him breathe. That evening, a nurse named Lily came in with a blanket for me. She paused, then said quietly, "Your father, he's a legend here." I looked at her, confused. He's helped so many of us. Paid for my daughter's school books. Sat with patients who had no visitors. Even brought hot meals for a janitor going through chemo. No one asked him to. He just did. I was stunned. The man I tried so hard to distance myself from had been building something far greater than an empire. That night, I went back to the library he'd worked in for over 30 years. It hadn't changed much, still smelled of old paper and wood polish. But in the far corner, there was something new, a wall filled with pinned letters, photos, and drawings from students and families. A sign above it read, "Mr. Cole changed my life." I read every single note. "Thank you for believing in me when no one else did. You bought me my first book. Now I'm a teacher. You told me I mattered. That saved me." Tears streamed down my face. I sank to my knees and wept, there, under the dim light of the man I had never truly seen. The next morning, I was by his side when he woke up. He looked at me, groggy but smiling. "Ethan?" His voice was barely a whisper. "I'm here, Dad. I didn't think you'd come." I broke. I grabbed his hand and cried like a child. "I'm so sorry. For everything. I thought I needed to be like Mr. Grayson. I was wrong." He gently squeezed my hand. "Mr. Grayson's a good man. But being rich isn't just about money." That night, I made the decision. I resigned from my job. Sold my car, my condo, the suits, the watches. I liquidated everything that had once made me feel successful, but never whole. And I used every last dollar to build something that mattered. Today, in the heart of the very town I once wanted to escape, stands the Thomas Cole Center for Hope and Learning. It's a safe haven for underprivileged kids, a place to read, learn, dream, and be believed in. Every child who walks through its doors is reminded that their value isn't tied to a price tag. At the ribbon cutting, Mr. Grayson showed up. He pulled me aside, looked at the kids laughing in the courtyard, and said, "I taught you how to chase success. But your father, he taught you how to define it." And he was right. Today, I travel the world, not to talk about stocks or real estate, but to talk about my real dad. The one who never wore a suit. The one who never drove a luxury car. The one who never made headlines, until his heart did. The man the world ignored, inspired it. The man I was once ashamed of, became my greatest pride. So if you're still listening, still wondering who your real role model should be, look closer. Sometimes the richest man in the room isn't the one with the gold watch, but the one holding a child's hand, giving hope, building lives in silence. My name is Ethan Cole. And my father, my poor dad, shocked the world by showing us what it really means to be rich.